going.
Your content being sent to YouTube.
Here we go. Oh,
Good evening. I'm Sami Parvez and welcome to the Sami Parvez show. Thank you, Donovan Ekstrom from beautiful Grand Prairie with a new look. How are you doing, Donovan?
Sammy, I'm doing great. Right, it's a little technical stuff, but we're gonna power through it because that's the Canadian way of doing things. Sammy, it's great up here. It's been we've been getting a lot of frost, a lot of fog, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of fog frost, so a lot of hoar frost. So that's been kind of fun. There was a sundog in the sky. That's a thing that happens when you have the sun kind of reflects off the atmosphere in a really neat way up here. But it's been good. It's been like pretty chilly, -5. And yes, I do have a new look.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that's an understatement. Of course, I look like I'm 19. So that's been that. I shaved it for we did a charity at our school where we made about $150, which we donated to the St. Lawrence Center, which is a men's shelter up here in Grand Prairie. So just a nice thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And now I guess I can participate in Movember
Mm-hmm.
and just grow my mustache out.
Mm-hmm.
The it's all and oh my goodness. Oh boy. Oh, it's
We have
like
someone.
it's like what is it when it's like pro wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
All of a sudden, I can't believe it. He's made it. I think we do have an Adam Smith sort of stopping by, so
Mm-hmm.
which is quite thrilling.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's good. Thank you, Adam.
Hello.
oh, and you've got a dirty little mustachio there too, Adam.
Ooh, yes. I'm feeling pretty dirty,
It's,
Mm-hmm.
like a
it's
politician.
those dirty politicians.
Uh,
Sammy's in the ether right now. We'll find Sammy.
hmm.
He'll make it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Is he? I hear him.
He's there. He's there. He's here.
I'm here, but I'm just struggling with my camera. I don't know, like maybe today I need to be without my cam. How
Oh,
are
no.
you, Adam?
Good. How are you, Sammy?
I'm good, thank you, and thank you so much for making it today. I wasn't
Hmm.
expecting you, but Ed, Donovan was saying that you may make it. Knows. So you gave a great surprise to us.
Yes, happy to be here.
Thank you very much. Good to
Oh,
have you for a long time. I think it has been a month.
Yeah, it's been a while. It's been a busy, busy month for me. So,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I decided today for sure. I'm showing up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the poppy. Jeez, I left my poppy in my vehicle.
well, that's all right. It's
That's
okay.
okay.
You're at
Hmm.
home. You're at
Very
home
nice.
relaxing.
Yeah, nice poppy, Donovan.
Thank you.
I
No,
think.
it is it was my guess was correct that once November 1st hit, everybody got ready to go. So
Mm-hmm.
that was about what I was expecting. I know that the campaign starts before Halloween, before November 1st, but yeah, as soon as November 1st hit, the co-op had it. Pretty much everywhere I've been going, the music store, our school sort of started the poppy stuff. So yeah, I think it's a sort of the that's the way it goes. And I'm seeing a lot of people wearing them up here, which is also really nice. I've been seeing, might just be the Grand Prairie way. I was in Costco and I'd probably say about 60% of the people in there were wearing poppies. So not too shabby.
Not at all.
I think
That's
this poppy is more popular in Western Canada than Eastern one. I hardly ever see people wearing it. Can you believe it?
Yeah, that's a. I was briefly in beautiful Kitchener Waterloo, but I think it's a yeah. It doesn't shock me too much that Eastern Canada is a little more. What's the word, Adam? What am I thinking? What's the word?
Uh, hmm. I'm trying to think of okay, like a poppy is like a flower, so I'm trying to think of like they're more thorny.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's sort of, yeah, out here it's a little bit more patriotism and a lot more of the, I think that's kind of the case even in places like Edmonton that tend to be a bit more progressive. I think that you still see a little of that blue collar, hey, I'm happy that it's good to reflect and remember the sacrifices that were made. So,
Mhm.
Sammy, how many trick-or-treaters did you get on Halloween?
I don't. I think maybe I don't recall, but we whatever we purchased, I think we all were went. I was not at the door, so
Oh,
I'm living in my basement. So other family member answered the calls.
hmm. How about you, Donovan?
so I'm outside in the county, but we got
Hmm.
12,
No, not bad.
which
Not
wasn't too
bad.
shabby. That's about
Huh.
and they came in like we had a rush of about 8 at around 5:15. I'd just gotten home and then there's like and luckily my wife was there, but it was just like bam, 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 bam. And then it kind of stopped, slowed down for and then around 7 we had another bit of a rush. So, but it's the secret to a successful Halloween is to go to the county and the rural areas because we give you so much. It is ridiculous. It is like, here's 3 cans of pop because I don't know if there's going to be any more people here. And here's just take handfuls of candy, please. And sometimes you get even like the homemade stuff, which I think is not as, it's not as, what is it? It's not as welcoming in cities, but like out in the rural areas, you'll stop by like old people that are in their 90s and they make popcorn balls and all that stuff, which is always a treat, or like candied apples. And so that's the rural places where it's at. Oh, there's Sammy. There's the man, the myth, the legend. Oh, here we go. This show is starting. Let's go.
It is
He's
just.
getting dressed.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm in a I just wearing my t-shirt today. I thought might be I need to wear my Saskatchewan Rough Rider jersey. Then I thought about you. you you may feel offend, I would say. Maybe that would not be the correct word, but I feel like like you are not a fan of Saskatchewan Rough Rider, so that's why I avoided wearing that one.
Oh, Sammy, never let our opinions affect your attire. That's what the CFL is all about. They wear
Mhm.
watermelons on their head. I would love to see you with a watermelon on your head.
That would be a heck of an episode. Well, if
Yeah.
hey, if
So,
Saskatchewan does it, they could.
yeah.
We'll talk about that later though. We'll
Mhm.
they'll save that for the end.
Yeah, let's talk about liberals liberals introduce amend elections act, particularly about changing the changing the date, like changing the election date, and also they are trying to all MPs or their ministers. I think they are total of 32 with liberals and NDP to be eligible for their pension. So, and also, I think that was deputy minister to public safety or whoever confirmed there were some big room deals with liberal and NDP staff members and minister, I think elected officials.
Yeah, those silly goose politicians are at it again. That's about what's to be expected. But yeah, I think they're saying that they're just pushing it back a week because oh well, like I don't even really know what their excuse is for pushing the election date so that everybody is like guaranteed it. But it's silly. The NDP said, "Well, we're gonna rip up the supply and confidence agreement," and then oh well, we'll actually keep on doing it. So it's I've often said Jagmeet Singh has the political acumen of a 4-year-old. It's a very toddler-esque where you sort of just point at things and there's a little bit of bad object permanence. You kind of forget things. you mix up revenue and profit, and so it's sort of coming back to bite them now. And I think that it's these decisions that are going to lead to the NDP not having a very good electoral performance. Particularly, I said, like it's like the bloc is no longer supporting the bloc's no longer supporting the government. You know, they're saying we're going to take them down. It's like, okay, the NDP are the last ones, but it's stuff like that. You know, those backroom deals that also kind of looks bad. Now, there's a couple of parts of the added elections act that I'm actually not hating. They did for instance, putting into legislation that you can't accept cryptocurrency or gift cards as because that was a way that you could kind of get around being like, oh, here, we're going to donate to your campaign. Gift cards weren't covered. So I think that that's one of the things, but it's one of those one step forward, two step backs thing that it's just irksome. It's irritating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, but they are not doing enough, like for protecting or making sure these elected officials should be accountable for taking any gifts, like they're taking much, like no one knows, and no one would call them out whenever they would take it. Justin Trudeau took like gift from his family friends, Aga Khan, and then I think he went to uh, um, I don't know, Costa Rica.
Yeah, I got to go to
Yeah,
his little island.
yeah. So there, like took another trip from a family friend. Everything was uh, free. So I think ethics commissioner did not find, or he or she said that it is not he is not going to investigate him. So we know like ethics commissioner was appointed by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, but yeah, they are like sometimes they would come like like be more ethical, like wherever it is appropriate to take the action, but sometimes like maybe give favor, right? What we are seeing in Foreign Interference Commission, where the justice was appointed by Prime Minister himself. So I don't think anything could be fined. We may not find anything wrong. So in foreign interference inquiry. So this is another thing, like whenever you are doing everything by yourself, like you are investigating yourself. So how the hell you are going to find out anything wrong?
Yeah, no, I was, yeah, it's like, yeah, oh no, I have to punish myself. Like, no, I'll just keep on getting away with it.
Mhm.
I actually looked it up. The reason why they're pushing the date back a week is that Diwali lands on the week before, so they're doing it because it's unfair for that community, and so that's sort of their justification for it. As well as there's a couple of municipal elections that fall on that date, so they don't want anybody to be confused. So they're going to push it that week, and then 80 MPs or whatever are going to get their pensions, which is that's sneaky. I like that. Sometimes you got to give them credit, Sammy. That if they're when it comes to their games, their reindeer games, as some might say, they are very sneaky at it. But that is yeah, that's one of the ways that they're getting around it. But what do you
Mhm.
think, Adam? What's going on with you? What do you think about this malarkey with the Elections Act?
I haven't paid enough attention. I don't know.
That's why we're here. That's why we're
Yeah,
we're
right.
we're
That's
like we're
I'm just
teaching the people.
I'm soaking it all in. Um, I mean, they can change the date all they want, whatever. I don't think a week's worth of campaigning is going to make any difference right now, anyways. That's my little theory.
They should honestly, it'd be very funny and messed up if they did like a weekly omnibus bill where they kept pushing the election date back a week. So it's just like on Friday at 6 they pass it, and then now the election date's going to be in early November, and then they keep pushing it perpetually until nope,
Yeah,
see if anybody catches on to it, which would be
yeah, right.
very also very funny.
Yeah. I was talking with a
I,
few of my classmates. Oh, sorry, Sammy, go ahead.
I said, do you use Twitter or X?
No, not actively.
Hmm. But do you have an account?
Yes, I do.
Would
Yes.
you publicly disclose it?
Uh, not at this time.
Okay, leave it.
Not at this time.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I was just thinking, my classmates and I were talking about how, at what point in our lives, if ever, will there be more an ability for the average citizen to vote, even just using their phone, using their cell phone as a means. Like, I don't know how you do it anonymously, but I mean, who cares? I don't think people are that fussy as long as like the results or what you voted for isn't like publicly known. Um, why can't we just vote off of our phones? And then from there, I was thinking, okay, well, does that kind of spiral into more referendums and like easier ways of getting the opinion of the people if you kind of have it on the phone? Just a little theory we were discussing in school because, we discuss a lot of theory that really is relevant and works very well in the real world.
Well, I know that the Elections Act that they wanted to pass, but Elections Canada said we can't do that yet. One of the ones was increasing the days to 3 days. So instead of having it, you vote on October 25th or whatever, it'll be October 22nd to 25th. And then that gives people an opportunity. But Elections Canada said, well, we don't have the infrastructure. First off, we'd have to have the schools be okay with 3 days of this. So they were like, we're not going to do that for this election, but we'll try to throw some stuff. And the other one was that you would be able to vote at any polling station, so that you don't have to go to the one that's there. But the Elections Canada once again said that's very uh, difficult because we don't have the infrastructure once again to check off, hey, this person has voted at that station. Now they're not eligible. So I will say Elections Canada did a pretty good job of like, oh, we're not just, because that would be crazy if they were like, yeah, we'll just do it. Why not? What's the worst that'll happen? And then it all falls apart and all this stuff. So I do think that that's a pretty interesting turn of events, right? Three extra days or 2 extra days on top of election day. What comes from that? But yeah, that would be for 2029 would be what they're kind of shooting for. But
If we're still around by then.
if we're still around, if the world hasn't exploded yet,
Yeah.
things are
Yeah.
crazy. People are just nuts. Which is the way to be. It's what is it? May you live in interesting times. Is that right? We are living in the most interesting times.
Oh
But
man.
yeah, the Elections Act, it's always an irritating. It's politicians doing what they do. It's like the UCP stuff. That's a lot of politicking, a lot of just sort of screaming, a lot of shouting, but how much of it's in action, we'll see. We'll see what comes of that. But it's once again just Jagmeet Singh is it just doesn't look good. I don't understand how he doesn't understand the optics of this. Being like, we're tearing this up. We don't stand with the liberals, and then immediately getting back. Like, it's like optically, you have to stop and go, oh yeah, this doesn't look good. Maybe we should stop. But that's why he is like the political acumen of a 4-year-old. It's insane how he just functions. Like on paper, Singh should be like the best leader for the NDP, like a young guy that actually doesn't get lobbying. He's somewhat well spoken. Like it seems like everything's there, but then he just screws up the basics of politics, and that's crazy.
Oh,
Whoa. Uh-oh.
sorry. I was just playing on Zoom. I didn't know I could do this.
Oh, neat. What is this? Close this. Close this, Adam. That was neat. There's so
Sorry.
many there's so many fun things we can do here. I
I was gonna draw a
recently
mustache on your face.
I recently what was it? I shared my screen actually
Hmm.
last week, and I
Hmm.
was I was alarmed at that. There's so many fun things we can do on Zoom.
Yep.
So many fun things. But yeah, Sammy, I think that's like for the Elections Act, it's once again politicians doing what they do best. and that
Yeah,
is
they are doing everything for their own benefit. As I always say, like these politicians run just for their own benefit. Most of them, I don't say everyone, but most of them, like Trudeau, like Jagmeet, like Pierre Pouliot, or like these other, I don't know, like Chrystia Freeland, or I don't know, like whose them should I take? Yeah, these all politicians run for their own benefits. Like just make themselves like billions of dollars. Like from here and there for deals, then get a good I source of income job like 6,000, 6 grand pay. So then you can go and sit there and live a luxurious life. Yeah, like our MP Mike Morris, like he has spent 20,000 for just 3 months for trip, and I don't know, like he has spent $1,000 for which constituents you met in Cambridge and Waterloo. We are living here in Kitchener West. We cannot speak to you over the phone. Not neither you are going to respond your email. So how the hell you spend $1,000 of taxpayers' money to meeting someone in Cambridge and Waterloo? Like these types of politician, yeah, they are. Though Mike would say that he's not a career politician, but you are a career politician with the things you are doing, or Elizabeth May, or other variety of politics, like. And I know, like Donovan is running just to be a voice, like I would promise, commit that if I would ever run for office, if I would get elected, you will see that I would be the the first elected MP in the Canadian history, in Canadian history, whose billing for spending of taxpayers' money would be very very low. I would try my best not to spend a single money of taxpayer money. Like for my personal benefits, or like traveling, or meeting a constituents, or like they donate sometimes. Like I must not use it. Like I should use what I receive. Like if I would have 50,000, if I would receive $50,000 per year to survive, like I if I would receive so 200,000 as an elected MP, so why should I bill more that, like extra 20 to 30,000 to Canadian taxpayers? Like I need to spend whatever I'm receiving from those money, like traveling, or other like personal expenditure, or PC, this thing would be. Yeah, today I'm committing.
I've often thought that like people always ask like what happens if you win, Donovan? What happens if you win? And I'm like, oh, I'd probably just get like a cot and live in my office. Because you get close to everywhere and you could just chill out. I'd bring my like Nintendo Switch and play Pac-Man if I wanted to relax. I don't have to do too much. And I Parliament Hill has to have like a nice cafeteria, right? That you could probably just live off of and manja. So like, I don't know. I think it's like the fact that like they give you like $40,000 to like move is nuts in a strange way of getting you over. And I'm like, yeah, if I ever won, I'd probably just live in my office, get a nice futon, sleep on a cot,
Hmm.
be like, this is where I get a race car bed. I don't know, something kind of exciting, but no, that's good, Sammy. That's good that yes. And I think too, like maybe perhaps making your bank account like have your account that gets money public so people can be like, oh, that's what you're seeing this and whatnot. Or to like give like updates, like a monthly update, being like, this is what I
Yep.
spent on and here are my
Hmm.
receipts and I'm carpooling and I'm hitchhiking to where I need to go. And I think that
Hmm.
that's also the level of transparency that I think is also something that I would do if I won. But I think that's arguably what I think politicians need to start doing a lot more of. Um, I think you got to keep the fight going against Mike, Sammy. I'm going to be real with you. This guy's ignoring you, and I think you're doing the right thing and just
Yeah.
taking it to him. Take it to him, Sammy. You
Yeah.
got this. You're
I'm
doing
I'm
great.
now considering might run as an independent candidate in the next election.
Yes. Oh, now he
Yes.
can't. Now he can't
Yes.
avoid you. Yeah, go to the forums. Let's do it, Sammy. Oh, it's not that hard to get on the ballot. I've done it many times. You
Yeah.
just need. I think you could. I think you got. I think. Oh, and Mike would. Mike would. I think if he
He'd be
saw you,
sweating.
he
Mhm.
sees you on the stage, Sammy. He'd start. Yeah, he'd sweat. Probably throw up. Like there's you get him, Sammy. You should. Next one. Just run as an independent. $0, run on that
Yeah.
platform of transparency, and I'm not going to
Mhm.
spend a dime of
Yeah.
your money that I need to, an extra dime that I don't have to, and
Yeah.
thus,
And you know
Sammy.
what? Even if you don't win, Sammy, as long as Mike does not win either, I consider that a nice.
Big win.
Yeah, it balances.
I may flip like Mike's vote. Like my neighbors maybe voted for Mike. Maybe they consider voting for me. Like it would be great.
I would.
Yeah,
I
I
endorse
would give
Sammy
it a shot.
Parvez.
Like because it does not cost money.
Yeah, that's the best part. It's yes, because of thank you, longest ballot organizers, Kieran and whatnot for making that, and Kieran and Thomas for making that
Mm.
no longer a deposit to run,
Yeah.
which I think is democratically wonderful.
Hmm. Yeah, and also let me bring up like this longest ballot. They posted something. They may try to run. They receive many emails
Yes.
regarding LFX, like by-election. I don't know when it will be called, but it must be called before January. So I don't know like how many candidates are they going to run?
I think let's see, Halifax. I think it's actually because they acknowledged that the seat was left vacant in September,
Oh,
a
September.
Halifax by-election. So I think it has to be called in September, October, November, December, January, February, March,
March.
6 months. Yeah. So I think it's the date of the by-election must be announced between September 14th and March 2nd. So
March.
yeah, so you got about a 6 month thing. But yeah, no, of course the long ballot wants to continue
Mhm.
before these silly politicians put an end to it through nefarious means. So yeah, no, if you're a Haligonian and you're looking to throw your name in a hat or help organize it, because we all we need are the signatures. If you're we need about 120 or 115 to 120 that are willing to sign about 100 nomination sheets. And yeah, we're always shooting for the hundo. Get 100 independent candidates. That's always exciting. And there's
Mhm.
nothing more fun than that. And then I'll get to dress up like a Haligonian, which is also very fun. Eat lots of donairs. And then, yeah, of course, I'd throw my name in the hat on that. Though there is a chance that the election might be called in about the next 6 months. So we don't know what the future holds, Sammy.
Yeah,
Um,
but there are also some speculation. Maybe we would have an election before Christmas. How would does it sound?
oh God. I would in like a month, Sammy, I'm gonna puke if that happens because I'm gonna be traveling. I'm gonna be spending time with my wife, and
Mm.
we just want to just get away from things. And but yeah, if it happens, it happens. That is the way, Sammy. We must
Yeah.
trust the process. Uh,
Yeah.
as annoying as it may be. Adam, would you like a Christmas? Would that be a nice Christmas gift? An election?
Kind of. I think it'd make Christmas dinner interesting.
Yeah, you're
I'd
right.
hear some very interesting perspectives from my uncles and aunts. And yeah, I feel like that could be a fun way to roast some chestnuts.
And yeah, you just get to be devil's advocate and be like, I actually think Justin Trudeau's been doing a pretty dang good job. And then watch, particularly in Alberta, you say that you're getting mashed potatoes thrown at you,
Scalloped.
scalloped
They're a little
right out
more
of the
they're
right out of the
easier to
oven,
whip into an eye.
right out of the oven.
Yeah.
Just you're like, oh God, get some burns.
Do they
Yeah,
eat scalloped potatoes in like Eastern Canada?
yeah. Sammy,
Yeah.
Sammy, have you ever had
I have
scalloped
no idea.
potatoes? What?
Uh, 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 what white potato you are talking about?
Scalloped potatoes. They're like they're cut
I'm gonna look
and they're
I'll
they're
look up
yeah, it's like they're cut and then they're baked with like a cream sauce or like a cheese sauce, and they're layered. And then they're like, so then they get tender and they're infused with whatever flavor. Some people use like mushroom soup, some people use cheese.
I have never tried it. I
It's like an
never,
egg.
first time I'm hearing about it.
Ooh, Sammy, that might be a fun
It's
Christmas.
it's super cheap and delicious. It
Hmm.
is delicious.
Very filling,
Yes.
very filling because it is just dense because it's a lot of cream too, I think. Uh, which I
The
yeah.
exact origin of scalloped potatoes is unknown, although it is believed to have originated in England. That's from theforkedspoon.com.
Oh, interesting. I
That, yeah,
guess. Yeah, it's
was
a
English.
kind of checks out. It's not the most thrilling on the palate, but it is pretty fine. It is a pretty good Christmas one. Christmas meal. It's tasty, warm.
So yeah, when they throw it in your face when you're talking about politics, at least it's pretty delicious.
That's what it's all about. That's what it's
Hmm.
all about. But yeah, Sammy, I guess in the long ballot, we're always going to try to keep it going. It's always fun to do.
Hmm.
Nothing wrong with a little bit of chicanery, a little bit of fun political nonsense. And it's also everybody. I think people initially get mad and then they think it's kind of fun. I think it's fun, and that's
Yep.
what counts.
Yeah, this is how it works.
And had it not been for the long ballot, Sammy, this show wouldn't be happening. And I think that's
There you
ultimate. And that our friendship wouldn't have, your friendship
go.
with Adam Smith, your friendship with me, we would not, it would, what would it be? And
Yep.
that's what the longest ballot's about. It brings people together.
Hmm.
I don't
Yep.
even like thinking about it.
Makes me want to, it gets me scared.
Yep. We were not here if there was no longest ballot. We need more longest ballot.
We always do. Coast to coast long ballot.
Coast to coast. And there is another election is will occur on November 26th in Nova Scotia.
Yes, yes. The conservatives broke their rule of the fixed election date because it's once again politicians do what they do best, and you have to
For their best interest.
yeah, exactly. 4 more years, heck yeah, and they're polling really well, and people seem to be liking the progressive conservatives. So I think people are like, yeah, sure, whatever, we'll vote. Hopefully there's no giant snowstorm, but they're doing great. Like the PCs out there are polling really well. People seem to be happy. They're raising the minimum wage. I think economically, Nova Scotia is doing really well too. So yeah, I think that's how it goes. Politicians doing what they do.
Yep.
I got a question. It's longest ballot related.
Oh, let's go. We can chat. What's the long
Okay,
ballot?
if we take every person who lives in Canada that's legally able to vote and we put their name on a ballot, how long would the ballot be? Would it be like would it stretch across maybe a small town? Or
One
because what's
second.
the population and what's the little length of a ballot spot? Population of Canada,
It's 41 million, but those all are not
41.
eligible.
How many are not eligible?
I don't know, maybe more than
Okay, well, we'll say 41. We'll say 41 because we're still growing, kind of.
Mhm.
Okay. And I wonder how long a little section is. Will we say like,
Well, so for 91 candidates, the ballot was almost a
1
meter
meter.
long.
okay, so I'm horrible at math, but we should be able to use that number to correlate to 41 million. How many candidates was that?
There was 91 on that ballot.
91 at a meter.
So it'd be for 41 million, and it's about, we'll say a meter, because it's just under a meter, but we'll say a meter, we'll just round up. So it'd be 450,000 meters long. So about 400.
That's
Like
450 kilometers. So
Yeah. So it'd be from like Grand Prairie to Edmonton.
Cool.
That's how
Well, you
long that
guys better
battle would
get
be.
on that.
We got every Canadian, which also includes children. So that
Yeah.
might be a bit of a problem. But
No,
yeah,
no, no.
but if we've divided it in two, like, that's still like about, yeah, 225 kilometers. Because if we sort of figure it, or I guess we divide it in quarter. So probably about, yeah, 300 kilometers, I think it would be for that, which isn't too shabby. I like that. I like
I
that
don't
a
know how
lot.
you'd fit it in a box.
That's for Elections Canada to figure out.
That's their problem. Yeah.
That's not, that's democracy, baby. That's what it's all about. And everyone
Yeah.
votes for themselves. And then if everybody voted for themselves, you would have you would actually have to draw. It'd be luck based. So they just reach the name in the hat, then they pull out who wins. That's actually
Pull
what
out
happens.
the huge ballot.
Yeah. So that's fun. I like that. Uh,
Sorry, I got a little off topic there, but that
that's
was,
okay. Sometimes you just got to think about it.
Mhm.
yeah,
Uh, but I guess,
that's
yeah,
politics.
I guess Nova Scotia, it'll probably be a conservative win. They're doing well. People like them. They're actually somewhat progressive versus, well, you saw what happened with the progressive conservatives in New Brunswick when they started to kind of lose track of what people really care about, which is a functioning healthcare system. They don't particularly care too much about it's like, I don't care that you're banning trans people in this way, that way. People are just like, we just want a healthcare system to work. You obviously have your priorities wrong, you lose. And I think that's a lesson that the PCs have pulled out in Nova Scotia. They're focused on, hey, we're going to raise the minimum wage. We're working on this, and getting people back to keep people working. And people like that. And that's kind of, and I think that's, if there's a lesson too, I was thinking about this, but I think Pierre Poilievre is actually probably happy that the PCs didn't win in New Brunswick or the Conservatives didn't win in BC, because I think that having sort of that as almost like an albatross of like these sort of socially conservative things. Now you also still have the punching bag of David Eby. You can sit down and say, look at these left wing policies that are destroying British Columbia. So I think yeah, the progressive conservatives actually are progressive in Nova Scotia, and I think that resonates really well with people. And it seems like the Liberals and NDP are also kind of rebuilding, so it'll probably be whichever party kind of gets ahead from that. Whoever gets second will probably end up being the big party. But it'll be a Nova Scotia PC win pretty easily. It seems that people are resonating with that.
Yep. Yeah. They like Pierre Polier is very happy, like because they were having some real very like what policies you call them.
Oh, like the trans or like social
Yeah, the
policies? Yeah, a lot
social
of
policies.
social
They were
policy. Yeah.
more talking about social policies. Like what Pierre Polier never talks. And when the last time there was protest with respect to this, Pierre Polier told his caucus, "Don't talk about this. You are not allowed to comment on it. Like about these social policies."
it's
When
very it's sorry, it's very similar to like Stephen Harper was like that too back in the 2000s. Like he had lots of social conservatives, but it's like we don't talk about that. You saw what happened with that MP from Peace River Westlock, that was talking about how, oh, like abortion, like it's something that a lot of people in the caucus want to ban abortions, and immediately he got stomped out. Pierre Poilievre is sticking to the axe attacks, uh, stop the crime, and bring back the jobs. Like that's, and he's just sticking to that, and that's resonating well with Canadians. And people are, and it's obviously it's playing off well, and just don't. And he's very similar in that way because he did serve under Harper as well, so that helps out quite a bit there too. Um, and that attitude, and I think that despite it's that people don't particularly care about it's like, I just want to, most Canadians, I've said it before, I'll say it again. Most Canadians want an extra $10,000 in their bank account at the end of the year and like an extra like 4 hours of their week to themselves. And if you can do that, you will win every election forever. But when you start getting in curtailing towards, oh, we're going to have the most immigration. And then people are seeing the results of that. We're going to do this social policy. And you saw it with David Eby. He lost a lot of support. The election was really tight because of those drug decriminalizations and things where people are like, "Ooh, I can't go downtown without stepping on on a used needle," and he stopped it. Like, and I think if I would say too, if you're the BC Conservatives, you can actually put a feather in your cap that we stop the carbon tax in BC. We have a pushback on that, and we stop the drug decriminalization. And because of us, that's a great thing. And I think you can kind of use that momentum coming in the next 4 years, barring anybody crossing the floor, which I don't think will happen. What do you think, Adam?
I yeah, I was kind of zoned out there.
Hell yeah, that's fair. That's fair. I don't blame you. And sometimes it's just
Sorry, I'm thinking football. I'm waiting for 2 o'clock. The Packers are playing, and I'm sort of in football mode right now.
but of course. Oh, and we'll
Yes.
talk about Grey Cup. Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll get to that soon. But I don't know what else we have on the docket. What else do we have here, Sammy? Sammy, you're muted.
Myself on mute, sorry.
That-
Okay, so yeah, like David Eby is just struggling to find a speaker, and he says that he's not going to work anyone unless they agree with his plans, like whatever he would say, then they should agree with them. And he approached some conservative MLAs and also to BC Greens. They disagree because whoever if BCNDP appoint their own MLAs as a speaker, so they will be in minority, and they will struggle to pass any bills. They need the support Greens and or conservative. So maybe Green would support them, but I don't know like what discussion are ongoing with Greens. Maybe they are not going to support them either. Like they need their own standard, and they want to again more support like what conservative did. And a conservative is not going to support anyway, like John Ruster made it very clear that he is not his party is not going to put forward any name for the speaker, so it would be very tough for BC and DP to appoint their own MLA for the speaker, then pass a bill.
Well, I think they did reach out to a bunch of the BC United people that got in because you might hope that they would sort of try to avoid any controversy, but that is not, of course, what happened. No, but like I'll to be fair, if they do appoint one of their NDP MLAs, if there's ever a tied vote, the speaker decides how it goes. So it's still technically, but of course you don't want to have you want to have that 47, that guarantee,
Yep.
because of course a speaker is supposed to be impartial, and if a speaker's like, well, I actually think that this policy, and yeah, you want to have your 47, but if worst comes to worst, you can get a pretty partisan guy that'll be your speaker, and hope that they'll stand with what you have. But like, yeah, you're not going to have the government fall through. I think that they're going to stick. If you appoint an NDP one, they'll impartiality will say, nah, we'll keep the government afloat. But no, the Greens are going to be the kingmaker. They'll push some things back and forth, and yeah, it'll be another 4 years of the NDP. Now, I do hope that, and I think that Eby said it himself that he's learned, he's been listening, of course, losing all of that, losing like 5% of the vote. So we'll see how this NDP government looks in the next 4 years, because they could be a little bit more, fiscally conservative in a couple ways, and really kind of kneecap the Conservative Party of British Columbia, because if they sit down and they apply some of those policies, then the Conservative Party has to move farther right, and that's when you start to get the really wacky stuff, which I think would be an interesting thing to see. Because you're always going to have the left people are going to vote NDP, like they're going to do it no matter what. And then yeah, you might be able to pull a couple more of those centrist people if you go a little bit farther there. So it'll be interesting to see what at least the first year of EB's premiership as he takes over.
Yep, you're absolutely right. Adam, would you like to jump in?
No, I think Donovan's pretty much covered everything that I have to add.
Yeah, okay, Donovan, let's move to Adam's favorite part, CFL, football.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes.
We talked about that earlier this when you'd first joined about who was going to be kind of the ones to watch, and then yes, we ended up because I had mentioned the Argonauts and the Owls, and of course they're now meeting, and now we have Saskatchewan and Winnipeg meeting, and thus the four best teams are where they're supposed to be, and so now we will find out what happens there. Oh yeah, the Plains. The
The Bombers.
Plains, the Bombers indeed. Yes. Sammy, who do you think's going to win between the Blue Bombers and the Saskatchewan Roughriders? You can't be a homer. You can't. You have to think about this objectively. Who do you think has it, Sammy?
Okay, let me check. Let me see how they perform in the past. I'm just looking previous scores.
Saskatchewan's hitting the stride. Like
Mhm.
they had that like 6 weeks where they were miserable to watch, and now it's like they've gotten it together. Actually, I think Winnipeg has a hard game coming up this week. I think if this was Saskatchewan about 6 weeks ago, I think you'd be like, okay, I think that it'll be fine. But this is a different Rough Riders squad. So I think it'll be a certain challenge, but I think Winnipeg just has too much depth. I think and Saskatchewan kind of keeps running the same plays over and over, sort of a
Yeah,
very
I
similar setup.
think
But Ulay is healthy. That their running back is healthy again,
He's back.
or
Yep.
however you pronounce his last name. AJ Olay or Olat. He's back.
So Sammy,
I
what are
was
you
gonna
thinking?
say, did either
yeah,
of you guys? Oh yeah, okay, sorry.
No, Adam.
sorry.
Or-
I
okay.
I think Blue Bombers would win it.
Oh, it's the Sammy Parvez guarantee. Adam, what were you thinking?
Did either of you fellas watch the Ottawa Toronto game last night
That was
or
a
yesterday in the
slobber knocker. That was
Well,
that
you know
was
what? In the first half, I thought, oh boy, Ottawa's kind of hanging in there with them. But then I watched that second half and I thought, oh wow, I think Toronto can beat Montreal. That
yeah.
is they are a hot team right now. And I don't know. I mean, I compare how that Toronto team played with their B squad against the Elks last week and how much closer it seemed to be when the Elks played Montreal a few weeks ago or whatever, like a month ago. And it's like, oh boy, that Toronto team, they are gonna go to the Grey Cup, I think.
Spooky. No, that's fair. Yeah, they are everybody's getting hot at the right time, and it's always those like bye weeks. How beneficial are they for you finishing up ahead, right? It's like, oh, you just got like a nice game in and like pretty competitive one too. Like Ottawa really held their own
Yeah.
and was playing like a team, but it just didn't have the depth
Yeah.
that Toronto has. And yeah, I think it'll be
Well, yeah, and like you say with the bye weeks, I mean, even MLB this year, I think every team that got the bye was, or maybe not every team. No, no, because the two best teams make the World
Yankees and
Series.
Dodgers. Yes,
But
but everybody
there was
else.
there was something with the buys this MLB postseason where I think maybe it was the wild card series where those teams really scuffled because they had like 6 days rest, I think it was. And so it's like, yeah, well, how beneficial is a bye week after a certain amount of time? You
It
know, they
was
get rusty.
it was very prominent last MLB postseason because the Phillies kind of just came in, and then Atlanta had the bye, and then they just looked like they had, and same Phillies had that happen this time. It's one of those things where it's just like
Yeah, it
you
was the
can't.
Phillies.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's yeah, you just it's just like previous season having the bye was great. This season terrible. So it's yeah, sometimes you don't want to have too many breaks. You sort of start thinking, and so it's like I
Especially
wonder
when
if
you're playing well, you know, going into that.
I almost think that it's like you gotta almost offer it to the team, be like, do you want to take like a buy, or do you want to have like a like of course it's tough because it's like, oh, you'd be almost insane, right? To,
Yeah.
to not have the guarantee division series, or the
Maybe a choice
guarantee.
between the buy and home field advantage or something.
Yeah,
Like
because it's
make
yeah, if
them
you're
flip a coin or I don't know.
yeah, it's and then yeah, it's like yeah, get the buy if your team's terrible. It's like, oh man, we lost like 10 straight, but we made it and we're ended up number one. Like we'll take the buy to to renegotiate. But yeah, if you're like on a tear and you've won like 15 straight and it's like, all right, congratulations. Now you don't get to play baseball for or
Yeah.
it's the same thing with like football too. Yeah, I think teams tend to perform not I wonder what it is for like at least NFL. Uh, week. Next game stats. I wonder. Yeah, I think it's like after the bye week, teams tend to do worse, which is like that seems counterintuitive to, oh, you can relax. It's
Yeah, and
like,
usually too after a bye week, a bunch of players will come back healthy from injury. But when they're healthy, they're also a little rusty.
yeah. So
You
there's
know,
a
they're not in rhythm with the team.
so you're thinking it'll be I think Toronto's on a tear. You're right. I think it'll be I think Blue Bombers and Toronto. I think Toronto might. Well, I stuck firm. I think Winnipeg's going to win it. I think they're going to win the Stanley Cup. That has been my prediction this whole time. Sammy called me on it. So I'm
Yep.
sticking to it. It'll be Blue Bombers and Winnipeg Jets. It's going to be a beautiful time. The planes will be flying in Winnipeg. I think that is a guarantee, the Ekstrom guarantee. What do you think, Sammy?
Yeah, I must agree with you. As you made the prediction last time, I think a few weeks ago. So you said in NHL and CFL both will go to Winnipeg. I don't know whether should the credit goes must go to Wapkino.
Yeah, no, wouldn't that be something? Winnipeg NDP, the new premier that everyone loves. He's like Adam, like the premier of the Manitoba.
Manitoba.
I
Yeah, I
forgot
know.
what
He can do no wrong.
he's at like 70%, and he's been he's everybody loves him.
Yeah.
It is remarkable. Like it's
Yeah.
like usually the honeymoon lasts like 6 months and then starts to pick away, but he's been above and beyond. It's simply sensational. So we'll see. Yeah, if they do it, Wob Canoe will be the premier forever. He'll he'll just go until he steps down. It'll be very yes.
It mean he is not far left, like he's center and he's trying to things like progressive, unlike like traditional NDP, like Singh and EV, like he's doing good for Manitobans, even though he called out even though it means at that time I think he said he visited France or where the Canadian veterans were buried, like he paid tribute to him. We don't see much from traditional NDPs, so he's doing something better, like for even though belonging to an indigenous community, but he's more pro Canada, like pro Confederation, what unlike we see it from lots of from particularly indigenous communities and also from these left leaning folks.
Well, I think he's taking the concept of reconciliation
Mm.
and he's really running with it. I think that's also a really big thing. And taking the victories, and sort of keeping that up there too, which is quite it's like, okay, cool. Like, let's keep on trucking. Like we got to keep on going. And I think people kind of like that. We're
Mhm.
not going to sort of stick to one thing and we're just going to run, 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 run. Awesome. Good, 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 good. Shake hands. Like, and then, yeah. And yeah, really big fan of Confederation, which is, yeah, sometimes it feels that there's some of the factions of the NDP that want to, I don't know, it gets kind of funky there, sort of the weird, far far left stuff. But yeah, that with the right too. The UCP in Alberta just had their AGM and one of the biggest cheers, a 10-second standing ovation for a guy that said we need to get out of Confederation. So you're gonna have it on both sides that are gonna be like, oh, we don't need this country. We'll do our own thing. And I think the vast majority of people, as I've said, stick to people want 10,000 extra dollars in their bank account a year and
Mhm.
4 hours of free time. And
Yep.
that's ultimately nobody, the thought of just, oh God, could separation, like Alberta doing it. Ugh, I'd be tired. I'd be so tired. I just want to sleep.
Mhm. And you brought up UCP convention. So will there be a leadership review vote or
They
no?
did it. They did it. Danielle Smith got 91.5%
Wow.
approval from
Mhm.
those that were there, so she will stick around.
Wow, this is huge.
Sorry, David Parker of Take Back Alberta, who did his best to try to take her out, but people love her,
Mhm.
despite the fact that she's changed rules to allow more cronyistic getting gifts. She changed the rules so that for gift giving, so then she can get Oilers tickets. She's her excuse for that was, well, I deserve it. Albertans want to see me at these things, so that is completely fine. I should be able to get these gifts, which is gross. She changing the election rules so that more big money can get back in. Corporations and unions will start donating and things. And I'm like, that's great, good, thank you. It's interesting. I've often said it, and I sort of went on the rant on it. Just it's I'm quite irked, but it seems like when conservatives see liberals being cronyistic pieces of garbage, they get mad. But
Mm.
when conservatives see conservatives being cronyistic pieces of garbage, they give a thumbs up. There's like a really lack of like moral there's a lack of moral consistency I find with the conservative movements here in Canada. It drives
Mhm.
me off the wall. Here's the thing: it's like I look at cancel culture leftists, and at the very least, they're morally consistent. They don't particularly they will eat their own, right? You look at what happened to Ellen DeGeneres, a lesbian TV show host that teared up when Hillary lost and said, "I'm going to do my best to," and advocated for all of this. But as soon as she did something wrong, the left doesn't give a damn about that. They threw her to the wayside. They're like, "You did wrong." So like at the very least, you can say that they're morally consistent. But I find conservatism is not. It's like well, oh, we'll take down the liberals for having backroom deals with SNC Lavalin. And then
Mhm.
when Danielle Smith does it, it's like, oh, that's fine. Like, give me a break. Like, it's so annoying.
Yep.
Sorry for my
Yep.
rant.
Mhm.
It's frustrated. It's like 92% approval rate. And you're like, oh, good. She's making it easier to be a cronyistic pile of garbage. Ugh, whatever. That's Alberta. Well, that's also the 6,000 people that were there too. I think that you need to keep that in mind as well. That,
Mhm.
that there was, those were the people that were there. Who are the kind of people that are going to attend AGM meetings? Crazy people that love their party. You probably had that too if you had like a liberal thing. You'd have like, oh, 80% approval for Trudeau. I actually think it would be you'd have those kind of hardliners. So I think you just sort of take it, you keep on moving on. That is the way. The
Mhm.
Alberta way, the Alberta advantage.
But do you think that BC and BC, no, Alberta NDP would make any progress in the next election? W-
Well, you sort of see it with Saskatchewan when they had their election results. I think that in order for the Alberta NDP to make it, I think the path is too tight. You have to sweep Edmonton, you have to sweep Calgary, and you still have to get like two or three like rural ridings. You have to try to get both of Lethbridge, and then maybe Banff, Kananaskis. It's so tight, and like you saw it with what happened in Saskatchewan, where you had the NDP in Saskatchewan got Regina and almost swept Saskatoon, but they need to get Moose Jaw. They have to get what's the other SA I'm sorry,
With current.
Swift Current. Thank you. Well, they have to get the cities. I was thinking of St. Albert, and then I was like Stony Plain. There's too many S places in Western Canada. Uh, but like they have to get those, and they still have to get a couple more ridings. I think it's too difficult the way that things are established. So I think that like is Nenshi going to be the Alberta NDP guy to do it? Like how guaranteed how many people are happy about him in Calgary? Like I think that still remains to be seen. But like in order for the way that the Alberta NDP have to do it is I think just too difficult. The only reason they won 2015 was that people were pissed off and the right vote was split and it was just so that's the avenue. But now you have a united conservative that has 91% and that's going to be sort of propagandized to people. So I think it's just too tough. I think they might gain more. Depends on what Nenshi does, which is like it's tough because you have a guy that was a politician and has a lot of baggage and he's done it. Like he was mayor of Calgary despite the fact that there was hard right pushes to try to get him out and he managed to survive that. So it's not like he's like a political albatross, but like it's hard. It's hard in Alberta. It's hard in Saskatchewan. Manitoba's a bit easier the way that everything's structured for left-wing parties to do well. And it's structured fairly well in BC for left-wing parties to do well. But like, just the path to get that majority it's tough. It's tough. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. Like anything can happen. Alberta's wacky. We're an interesting province. It is perpetually daily. There's something controversial happening. So we'll see if that happens again, well, or not. Whatever. God is good. God will guide us regardless, and the sun will rise up tomorrow.
So in Saskatchewan, they had a great, like 27 seats NDP got. Like they had just 14 in the last election in 2020. So it means they did very well, but they could not perform um like they supposed to. Like these Saskatchewan parties in government for last since 2007, I believe, if I'm not wrong, for almost 2 decades. Now it's time over for them, as Scott Moe has been premier since 2017. So yeah, I don't know like what peoples are doing
It
there.
was it was like there was like 1,400 votes though in some of those really like that separated like seven ridings in some of those cities that had they gone towards the NDP they would have gotten the majority. So there is a path, but like it's you gotta like really got it. Now I will say that yes, if you're the NDP, you look at this as a big win. You doubled your seat count. You're feeling good. People were coming out. The polls were kind of on your side. And you did get a huge, and said that 1,400 difference is, I think, something that you can kind of get over. But like, you got to have the stars have to align. You have to
Mm.
get all the cities. You have to get those two northern ridings, which didn't go to them in the by-election back in 2022. And so we don't know what people are going to think or what people are going to do. It's hard to poll as well because it's so rural. It's like if I was to ask 100 people in Sexsmith, Alberta, who are they going to vote for, I might get a bunch of progressives, and it's hard to tell versus a city where you can really pinpoint exactly what you're looking for.
Mhm.
So yeah, and I think that's sort of the same thing with the Alberta NDP. We'll see if they can make it. I like competitiveness. It's just fun when there's close elections.
Mm.
And I don't care who wins, honestly. I just want to have a nice competitive back and forth where we're up till like 2 in the morning wondering who's going to win.
Yep.
That's what it's about. And I think
They,
having that's good.
that is how a democracy works.
Amen. Amen.
Yep. Adam, is everything all right with you? Are you sick?
Everything's great, Sammy.
Are
Yeah.
you ill?
Am I sick?
Yeah.
I was sick last week. I don't know. I think I got a case of I think it's laryngitis you can get from screaming too loud
Mm.
at the Elks game on
Oh,
Friday of last week. the officiating was quite offensive. So, but no, I'm feeling okay. Just soaking it all in. Donovan was talking about competition, and I think in a few days we're going to see a very important competition between Kamala Harris and
Yeah.
Donald Trump. And I'd like to hear your fellas' takes on that.
Sammy, go ahead.
Yeah, so the race is too tight, like I think it could be hard for the pollster and pundits to predict on it. But but I think, sorry, maybe Trump would win it. Like people are frustrated with Biden administration, Biden policies, and Harris is going to put the same policies what Biden put it, despite she's saying, "Oh, we would do something new." Like you have been in power for 4 years, you did not do it. Like people are sick. Like in Canada, like everyone is sick on Justin Trudeau. Like people are unemployed, mass immigration and housing crisis. Maybe we don't see much housing crisis in the US as compared to Canada, but still it means people are sick, like jobs crisis and like crime rate and other thing are ongoing. So I think people would consider these things, like despite you would say that Trump is racist or whatever he is, but with respect to when it comes to caring about Americans. So Trump would care more about Americans than Biden does. Like what we see in the wars, like we did not have any wars in Trump era. Like there were no war between Russia and Ukraine. He was trying to leave Afghanistan after being there for 2 decades, but we saw what happened at the last moment. Like there were I think terrorist attack and many American soldiers were killed. Like suicide attack or whatever you would call it. This could be another crisis, and what we are seeing in the Middle East, this would be another concern. Like for many folks, and we did not see such thing during Trump administration. It means he is despite whatever you would call it, he's a businessman. Like he would think about his own business and other businesses and maybe fellow American, despite whoever you would say would hate black people or Muslims or brown or whatever you would call it, like hate them. But when it comes to his own business, like he would bring, like in his like really brought up like Muslims, and he spoke with black people or brown communities and other communities, like to get their votes. Like but when it comes to caring about these folks, I think he's going to do more. And maybe whenever he took the power, we would see a ceasefire in the Middle East, because he does not want to spend on on sending billions of dollars to these wars. Like why you should send them rather than spending in US. And like Canada, we are also sending billions of dollars to Ukraine or to Israel, like to funding them. And also we are funding to opposite side, to Palestine. We are giving millions of dollars, not billion, but those are going, no one knows, like maybe they are going to terrorist organizations such as Hamas or Hezbollah or other groups. So these things could be another concern. So is if I would put my uh, all all differences aside, I think the Trump win would be great for us, for Canadian, as well for the Americans. Like, but if I would say as a journalist, just to predict what am I seeing, observing, like maybe the polls tells us otherwise, but what you see, like people's opinions or what they are thinking about. As Donovan always says this thing that it means people are sick of these social issues or LGBTQ or racial issues. Like now it is time for talk about or try to fix what people are struggling. Like everyone is struggling at this time. Like a uh, post COVID pandemic. So if we put all these things together, I think Trump would win it. Like maybe the results won't come on November 5th, but it would take a couple of maybe a week. But I think we would see a Trump win.
I'm gonna push back a little bit because one of the things that drives me a bit off the wall is how people say Trump didn't have any wars or anything like that under his presidency, and
Mm.
yet he put $8.1 billion towards Yemen, like during that. But people tend to forget that in 2019. He's it drives. As I said, I'm predicting Kamala is going to win simply because the polls have Trump winning, and that's been the that it seems like 2016 had Hillary winning and then Trump won. And then in 2020, everyone's like, well, it looks like Trump's going to beat this old man Biden. And that's what the polls were suggesting. And then Biden wins. So right now, the polls have Trump winning. And I'm like, well, I'm just going to, that's legitimately the only reason why. But like, I just think that there's this weird myth that Trump was such a peaceful president, but in his 4 years of being president, he did more drone strikes than Obama did. Actually, Trump in his first year did more drone strikes than Obama did in Obama's 8 years. Like, I think that we need to get this out of our head that and you just mentioned Yemen, like, and in terms of escalating wars, sure, there were people that were being pulled out of Afghanistan and Iraq, but there was an increase in payments towards independent contractors that grew dramatically. So I think I just need to clear the air here too. It drives me crazy when I hear how it's like, oh, Trump was the most peaceful president. I'm like, Mike Pompeo gave $8.1 billion to Saudi Arabia and Jordan. Like, I don't think that that's the case at all. I think that he was just as warmongering, but he does, he just says the things and is listen, we're just gonna keep on focusing on making America great again. Just ignore the $10 billion that I'm giving to Middle Eastern people. Like and that's the way he does it. And he just says it, and then people are like, okay, sure. And he said, like, there was never any wars under me. But like, was there a war under Obama's then? Would you say that did Obama start a war? Because he was inherited, if we're talking about inherited, he was inherited the Iraq war. Like what escalation did Obama do in his 8 years that Trump didn't do in his four? Like, I think that it drives me crazy hearing that Trump is just going to get away from Middle Eastern affairs, despite the fact that he was helping drone strike Yemen and helping to sort of stop that. As said, just sort of my 2 cents there. And as mentioned, I think Kamala is going to win just because the pollsters get it wrong all the time. It seems America's crazy, difficult to get the polling, and I think that that's just going to be that is legitimately the only reason why that I am thinking that it'll be a Kamala win is because the polls have Trump winning.
Yeah, Adam, go ahead.
I look at the betting odds. I don't think polls have any sort of stipulation. There's no real incentive, but if there's money behind it, yeah, exactly. If there's a little bit of cash behind it, I think people are gonna bet. And right now I was looking, I don't know if I can do any screen sharing. I probably shouldn't because this is not a sponsored. Yeah, but Donald is here. I'll find the money lines.
We're gonna look at
Find the money lines.
is sponsored by Bet365. Yeah.
This is Bet365. That's what I was checking out.
It's a good guess. Let's
Okay.
see what the betting lines. I think the
We
betting
are
lines have
at
Trump winning.
Trump at 1.72 and Kamala at 2.20.
So if I put $100, I get 170 if Trump wins, and if I put 100 I get 200. So yeah, the Trump has the better odds of winning. But as mentioned, I'm just going to sit down and say that it's always going to be the opposite. I think that's just the way it goes. America's insane, and I don't know. You're right. Everything in my gut says that Trump's going to win. But I just have to go with the way it's gone. I had in my gut Hillary was going to win, and then she got curb stomped by Trump. And then I was like, well, I think Trump's probably going to win this next 4 years. And then Biden somehow pulls it out. And I'm like, well, right now, I think Trump's going to win in my gut. And then that's been proven wrong. Who knows? But it's too tight. I think it's too close to call, honestly. I think it'll be a couple of days, and that's going to drive people crazy because
Will there be
everybody's
a will there be a Sami Parvez show U.S. election special?
Yeah, I think we should do it.
Yes.
Let's go.
Yes.
Let's go. Let's rock and roll. I wanted to do one on Saskatchewan election result night, but I slept early. I don't know actually what happened. Like to like this is just behind the scene. I'm just saying it publicly. I just got a phone call. I did two interview with Loblaws. One is Real Canadian Superstore. One was with theirs. I was got offered, like everything was fine. Then suddenly, at the last moment, they said, "No, we are not going to hire you because there is something." Like they did not tell me, but recently now I heard from someone. I'm not going to share anything details with respect to that. Behind the scene, I will fully disclose what happened. So I was told that there was something happened, like I worked before in Real Canadian Superstore back in 2016 to 17. So those manager, I don't know like what they put on my on my record. Now due to that, they did not hire me. Like I have all the record that I received the job offer later, like they suddenly say, "No, we are not going to hire you," oh, this and that. So that night, this was second for theirs, like that day I was extremely shocked, and I have been struggling financially, like I have been unemployed since January. So my line of credit is just now over, I think, $18,000. So this on November 15th it will come to over 20,000. So I'm still looking to find a job, and I'm that's why I just I had a bad day and I could not do it. That's why I did not do live show at that night. Sorry folks, but we will do it this time.
Sami, the BC election night, I joined the live stream there. I'm on YouTube. I was on the show, but I don't think you saw me.
No.
No, yeah. I was there. I checked in from White Avenue in Edmonton, Alberta.
Wow.
But it was at the time as well where I don't know who was giving a speech. You were giving a stream of the
Oh,
guy
okay.
giving a
Yeah, yeah,
speech.
yeah, 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 yeah.
And so I
Yeah,
cut
so,
in and I was trying to talk, but he was talking as well. And so
oh,
I
sorry.
did try to pop in, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I did
No,
not
that's
know
okay.
because I was just sharing there. I did not have much, so I thought might be I need to share their speeches to do more for the audience. Yeah, I wish I knew that night.
But I tried to get to while I was on White Avenue, I was really pushing the Sami Parvez show on a lot of people. So
Thank
I
you.
hope you got some subscribers that night at least.
Yeah, I think we received, and many people watched that one. Like I think over 400 people. I think the credit goes to you. Thank you so much.
Oh no, all the success is Sami Parvez.
Thank you very much. And I know like you and Donovan played a huge role for popularing or sharing this show. Like without you folks, I could not do it.
Sami, it's literally not a problem. Like, it is the anti-problem. It gives me it's an antidote of joy. It's like an antidepressant every time I share and get to interact with you.
Thank you.
You're a gem, Sami. I don't know what that Loblaws person is saying to blacklist you. That's crazy. Like, I don't know. I couldn't imagine
Mhm.
Sami doing. Oh, give me a those jerks. Keep on trucking though, Sammy. You got this. And yes, remember to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that little bell for notifications. And spend time with the sweet Sammy Parvez and his little gaggle of giddy boys here on the Sammy Parvez show. Yeah, the bells are ringing, and that is what counts.
Yeah, we are over like now 546 subscribers. Now,
Huge.
yeah, we are now just close to 1000. When we hit 1000, so it is over.
And then you
Oh,
can monetize, right?
Yeah,
I think
yeah,
it is. Yeah, thousand's the one you want, the sweet, sweet number. So we got to keep
Yes.
on pulling through.
yeah. Keep subscribing, sharing, liking, doing everything you can do.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say I'll shave my beard if we hit 1,000, but
Do we have any
that's already
chats
done.
in the YouTube today?
No, nothing. I don't know, like people did not
That's
watch it.
okay. That's okay. That's okay. I said we're
That's,
growing.
yeah, that's no big deal.
It's,
Mhm.
it's good. We're
Yeah.
growing.
Kevin Cooey is curling right now, so that's probably got a little bit something to do with it.
Yeah, everybody's Canadiana. Everybody's enjoying Kevin Cooey. How's he doing?
That is on YouTube right now. I'll check. It's on Curl. Do you guys subscribe to Curling Zone on YouTube?
I
It is
don't.
fantastic. There are tons of live events all the time. Here I got an ad, and then I'll tell you what the score is. He's playing against Corey Dropkin in the Seville Grand Prix. And currently Kevin Cooey is at 3 with the hammer in the 7th,
Okay.
and Dropkin is at 4.
Not bad. That's what you kind of want to be in. Just sort of keep maintaining it. Knock them out.
Ooh, yeah.
Keep it chill. Get 0 frames until yeah, just keep getting zeros. Split it till the end. And then you gun it. That's a beautiful sport, curling, Sammy. I think you'd enjoy. Have you watched curling, Sammy?
No, I never watched it live. Never.
You'll have to stop by your local curling rink. There's a lot of Legion members that tend to go to the curling rinks. So at least that's what it is up here. I know that when I go to the curling rink, they're smoking cigarettes in the curling rink, and I'm like, I don't think that's allowed,
Oh.
but they just kind of let them do it. So it's a beautiful thing here in
Mm,
Western Canada. So if you ever support the vets, go to a curling rink on a Friday night. You
mhm.
might see some pretty cool people.
Wow. Yeah, I need to give it a try.
Absolutely. It's a
Mm,
lot of fun. Even just watching it, I used to hate watching curling when I was younger, but as I get a little older, it's like, oh, this is fun.
It's very baseball-y in a lot of ways where you kind of
Mm.
just tune out. It's like the first few rocks are yeah, but then it's like, yeah, you start to lock in. It's a good like chatting with people and being like, oh, here we go. We're in the last two. And you look at the house and you're like, oh, that's crowded. I wonder what the skip's gonna do. And then you watch. I was a lead when I was in high school. I was on the high school curling team. I was a lead. So I would just I just whip the rock down as hard as I could and then I would sweep. Lots of sweeping. I was good at sweeping. That was my skill. Sometimes I'd lay some rocks pretty high up if they needed me to. But I was terrible. I was bad. I was a bad curler.
Well, I think you hit your prime in your 50s and or 60s, so you still got lots of time, Donovan.
Oh man, when we'd go in Sexsmith, we'd go to the curling rink and it'd be us, we were all like 16, 17, and we'd be going against these farmers that live like smoking cigarettes and they would sit. They'd like bring a stool and they would sit and they would just throw the rock down and just clear the house. Like they would no sweeping, none of that. And they just sort of sit down and throw it while smoking and drinking like a well gin and then just yeah bam and just clear the house and we're doing the proper things of the slide and proper sweeping and yeah they wouldn't do any of the curl part of curling and it was remarkable the skill that these old timers had. I was
Old man
always impressed.
strength.
It was just it was crazy and they're like in their 60s and 70s and they're yes that cigarette in their mouth and I'm just throwing it down. And you're like, yeah, and clear. You'd have like the most immaculate. You're like, oh, kid, we're gonna get three, and then they just clear it, and you'd be like, son of a gun, how? But it's the magic. It's a magic thing out here in Western Canada. But Sammy, do you have anything else you want to chat about? I don't know if there's anything
I
else
think
super crazy. I think we kind of
it
covered
was
everything.
it. If Adam and you have something else we can talk about.
We can talk about Kevin Cooey's career. No, it's
Mm.
just spend the next hour chatting about the greatest curlers, Randy Furby. You know, we've got time. But
Yeah, you
that's
can
Furby
talk
versus
about whatever
Martin.
you want to.
no, that's okay. We'll
We'll
have an
save it for the U.S. election night.
yes. Well, who
So
is
what
the
time
greatest?
should we jump in for the US election? 9 p.m., 10 p.m.?
Oh, that's on Tuesday, isn't it?
Yep.
I might so
Donovan won't be here.
so yeah, I'm not so there's a couple things. I might not be able to make it next week. I'm going to be kind of in the midst of traveling.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm also going to be in the midst of traveling on Tuesday. So I'll try to drop in when I can. I might get a hotel stream, sort of similar to me on my phone, but I might not be difficult to get. So the next week's live show, I might not be on. But Sammy, I think you can hold your own, regardless. It sucks. I had to miss one. I've never missed one. Um, but I might there. It's not looking likely for me to make Sundays next week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no
Where are
worries.
you going?
I'm traveling. I cannot disclose the location, but I
Oh,
am traveling.
okay.
But
Yeah,
I'll
you
post
yep,
pictures. I'll send pictures to
whatever.
Sammy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
But well, I guess Adam, you can
Yeah,
lead
I might
co
hang out. We'll
Yeah,
see.
co-lead
Adam
next
may
week.
join us.
Maybe bring in a couple of friends. Who knows? Maybe you
Yep.
can see we can have a little bit more of a round table. I'll make an AI of me. Maybe
Yeah,
do
that would be a lot of fun, actually.
this little fake version of me. That's fill it with my voice. That'd be kind of
Yeah,
fun.
just very generic answers, but occasionally just something weird gets through, you know.
Yeah, I'll see. I'll talk with some programming friends, see if we can set that up. That would be very
Mhm.
funny. But yeah, I think that's it. I think we covered a fair amount of ground. Nice hour and a half show. Good work. Well done, gentlemen.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I will
I
try
got
to make it.
football to watch.
And I gotta go home. So
Have a good day, everybody.
take care, Adam. Take
Happy
care.
Take
Sunday.
care, Adam.
Thanks,
Take care.
Thank
Sammy.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks as
Thank you.
always
Thank
for
you.
hosting such a great show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for making it. It is my pleasure. Thank you for taking time to joining me. It is always pleasure to have you.
And
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
and thank you for watching.
Wouldn't be here without you, YouTube.
You guys are studs. It's
Yes.
beautiful.
Okay.
Beautiful. All right. I'm going to
Happy
head out
Sunday.
too. So have a happy Sunday. Take care. Wear your poppies. Remember,
Yep.
wear the poppies. Bye.
Bye.
And Sammy, it's just us. I'm going to